Welcome everyone to a new video, and today's video will be a 2023/2024 guide to the Solana DeFi ecosystem. Now this is sort of a follow-on from the 2022 guide that I made, and a lot has changed since then. It's been a brutal bear market, and some of the projects that you will have seen in that guide are just like no longer around anymore. So I thought I'd refresh everyone's memory and introduce some new people to the ecosystem, because I know there's been a lot of hype around Solana recently, especially due to the price increase. We've got like the new dog coin Bonk bringing in lots of people as well. So I thought this video would be a good introduction. So why would you even be interested in Solana in the first place? Well, if you've used Solana, then you know that the user experience here is better than pretty much every other chain out there. If you've used Ethereum and its layer 2s, it's still a little bit more clunky than what you have with Solana. And on Solana, the transactions are cheap and they're fast. As you can see here, average cost per transaction is 0.00025, which is like fractions of a cent. So if you are new to Solana, what's the first thing that you want to do? You're going to want to make a trade. So you might want to buy some stable coins or buy some random other tokens, perhaps even Bonk. So we're going to Jupiter Aggregator. So I'll have links in the description down below to all of the websites that I visit today. So Jupiter Aggregator, as its name suggests, is a Dex aggregator, meaning it takes all of the different prices across all of the different dexes here on Solana, and it will give you the best one. So say for example you wanted to trade 100 USDC into Sol. It takes you via Radium, Lifinity and Orca, or Radium, Symmetry and Orca, and this will change from time to time, as the best prices will often differ depending on like the time of day, the amount of liquidity in a pool, so on and so forth. And you have hundreds of different coins that you could trade here as well. And if the coin that you want to trade doesn't show up, you can just paste the token address here and then you can trade it. Additionally, with Jupiter, they have some really cool features that not a lot of other DEX aggregators have out there. So that's like limit orders, for example, as well as a dollar cost average function. They also have a bridge and a perpetual futures DEX. So I know a lot of people are interested in GMX on Arbitrum, and a bunch of clones of GMX have been made on basically every single chain, and Jupiter is basically the GMX clone for Solana. So it works similarly to GMX. Instead of paying a funding fee when you're trading perpetual futures, you're actually paying a borrow fee. And how it works is that you're trading against a pool of assets similar to GMX's GLP. In this, it's JLP. So you have Sol, ETH, WRAP, BTC, USDC and USDT all here in a pool. And so if you wanted to start earning some yield on all of these assets, you can get 161.37% APR, which is pretty nice. And whilst there isn't anything built on top of JLP right now, I think there will probably be something in the future similar to what we see with GMX. And so speaking of perpetual futures dexes, let's get on to the next one, which is Drift. So whilst Drift is primarily a perpetual futures dex, so you can trade here various different markets: Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Pyth, BNB, Render, Doge, SWI, that sort of thing, right? You can also margin trade here as well. So if I go to the spot markets, you can trade Sol, Pyth, MSOL, Bitcoin, ETH, with up to 5x leverage as well, which is pretty cool. And so I like that Drift has this, because it makes doing things such as basis trading, for example, easier, because you can do it all in one DEX. Additionally, if you just go over to the Earn tab here, so you can go to lend/borrow, and so you can get yield if you want to deposit it into here. Additionally, Drift also works like a money market, so you can deposit like Sol, for example, and then borrow USDC against it. So you can take that USDC out of Drift and then do whatever else you want to with it. Additionally, they have Drift liquidity provider vaults. So this is where you're providing liquidity for various different perp markets as well. Now, the last perpetual futures DEX I wanted to talk about today is Zeta Markets. So this originally started off as an options marketplace here on Solana, but it pivoted to perpetual futures, and you have a couple markets here that you can trade as well. Depending on when you're actually watching this video, Zeta has openly advertised that they're doing an airdrop campaign. So the more that you trade on Zeta, the more your Z-score goes up, and the amount of Z-score determines how large your airdrop is going to be. If you want more details, you can check the website out. Depending on when you're watching this, if it's like in a year's time when you're actually watching this from the release date, this probably still isn't going on. Now, the next DeFi category that I wanted to tackle was money markets. So if you're familiar with, say, like Aave or Compound, for example, where you're able to deposit assets into the protocol and then borrow against it, then you should be familiar with Solana. So this is basically the Aave of Solana. So you can go here, deposit various different assets and then borrow against it as well. Additionally, they have different pools here. These are just done to isolate risk from the general main pools, which will have most of the TVL. And if you go to the different pools, they're going to have different supply APRs. And so on to our next money market, we have MarginFi. Well, I say money market, MarginFi is going to be a lot more than just a money market right now, but this is the main functionality of MarginFi. And so again, you can deposit assets in and then borrow against them. Much like Zeta markets, they're actually doing some sort of point system for an airdrop campaign that they're doing right now. So for every dollar you deposit into MarginFi, you earn 1 point a day. But for every dollar you borrow from MarginFi, you earn 4 points a day. And so they do that to incentivize borrowing, which basically helps boost the APY as well. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is leveraged yield farming. Now, this is something that I've been quite known for on this channel. It's talking about leveraged yield farming, and the place to go is Francium. You can see here, you can actually get some pretty high APYs if you're doing leveraged yield farming. A lot of this is coming from trading fee income. So right now on Solana, it's going through a sort of explosion in Dexs volume, and so you can take advantage of this by doing leveraged yield farming. Additionally, you can also go to the lending pools, and so if you deposit any of these assets in here, you can start earning yield, and this yield comes from the leveraged yield farmers who borrow off of you. So potentially you could lose money if some of those leveraged positions get liquidated. Now, I just wanted to talk about options quickly here. I'll go through this really quickly because there's only one place where I think you can actually trade options on Solana, and that's Psi options. But as you can see here, it's just not a very active protocol. And if I were you, I would just skip trading options on Solana altogether. There are alternative places where you can do that. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today is liquid staking. And we're taking a look at Jito network. So Jito is kind of special. It doesn't just allow you to hold a Solana liquid staking token. They do something a little bit more interesting with that as well. So you deposit SOL into the pool, and then you'll be able to receive Jito SOL. The Jito stake pool delegates your SOL to MEV enabled validators. Those validators auction off block space and receive MEV rewards. Those MEV rewards are redistributed to the stake pool as extra APY, and so your Jito SOL accrues MEV rewards in addition to staking rewards. And so what that means is that you're going to get extra yield on top of what you would have already gotten if you were just purely staking SOL. And the other place to go stake your Solana is Marinade Finance. And just so to round off this video, I just wanted to talk about the stablecoin yield farms that you have here on Solana. I mean, I have timestamps in the description, so I know a lot of people will just skip forward to here. So if you go to Drift, go to Earn, the Lend Borrow tab, you get stablecoin yields here, as well as going to the insurance fund staking, where you can get 44% APR on your USDC. Additionally, you can use Solend to get yields on your stablecoins as well. You got 102% supply APR for USDT right now. The next one is MarginFi, very similar to Solend. It's basically the Aave/Compound of Solana. And lastly, we have Francium. If you go to the Lend tab, you're able to lend out stablecoins to leveraged yield farmers. So that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as per usual, the links to all of the websites that I visited will be in the description down below.